Seems to be once again some form of collusion, if you will, between the BBMP, the Hosakerehalli, the municipal authorities, and the huge builder lobby, because there is this massive 25 feet wide road that the BBMP has just given sanction to be built over a lake bed.
It is very disappointing that lake is being destroyed in the name of development and rejuvenation. Part of the lake is being destroyed.
This development, which is totally unnecessary, I think we are not only hampering the lake's ecology but destroying the biodiversity.
This is the story of civic apathy in Bengaluru. There seems to be no end to it. The story of the Hosakerehalli Lake, which is one of the oldest lakes in the city. It had turned into a dumping ground, but now the BBMP has given sanction to, and pictures have emerged of this, what appears to be a road, a 25 feet road that's being built on that lake, permissions for which have been given up by the BBMP. This 25 feet wide road now sits on top of the lake. The BBMP claims that no road construction is taking place, but the mound of mud, and you can see the road rollers there, the other machinery that's there, it's very, very clear that they're rolling a road there on top of that lake bed. Meanwhile, despite the BBMP's assurances, residents and environmentalists in the area are raising an alarm, saying if you're going to build concrete structures on top of lake beds, we've already seen what happened in Mattahalli and surrounding areas in the monsoon rains last year. This could potentially be another point of disaster.
We are here at Hosakerehalli, where a 25 feet wide road is being constructed right in the middle of the lake, allegedly to provide access to a luxury real estate project that is coming up near this region.
It's very obvious that this road is being made for the benefit of somebody else.
Our objective was simple and clear: let the lake be like that what it was. Unnecessary desilting and unnecessary development in the name of lake regeneration doesn't make any sense.
This is totally unscientific. We are hampering the lake's ecology.
But this is not the first time that the Hosakerehalli Lake has been in the news, spread across almost 60 acres. This lake receives untreated sewage from a stormwater drain, and it sees continuous dumping of garbage and construction debris. Out of the total extent of the lake, at least 7 acres have been encroached upon. Last year, 10 trees on the banks of the Hosakerehalli Lake were illegally felled down. Officials from the BBMP's forest cell said that permission was not sought before the trees were chopped off. So clearly, no lessons have been learnt in Bengaluru, because last year, the city's famed IT corridor on the Outer Ring Road was underwater after just a bout of rain. Bengaluru has a distinction of having interconnected lake systems, but these lakes are now overflowing because of rampant encroachment, construction, stormwater drains. Lack of infrastructure is also a factor behind the flooding. Where can the water go? When there are no culverts, there are no canals, there is no outlet for the water to go away, then roads act like a dam that is stopping the flowing water. The rainwater and sewage water have no other way to flow but to be accumulated, leading to waterlogging. Let me go across to our guests. Adithya Srinivas is a lawyer and analyst. Kavita Reddy is General Secretary with the Karnataka Congress. Adithya, first things first, the BBMP is not saying this, but why would you build a 25 feet road over a lake bed? The locals there are saying this is for some potential luxury real estate project that's coming up. This is the road that allows connectivity to that project. But the BBMP is not saying that. They're saying that that's not the case. Point is, what is happening in Bengaluru in terms of, are no lessons going to be learned from what happened last year? We saw the flooding in Mattahalli because of all the construction that had happened on top of lake beds. Now we're doing the same thing in South Bangalore.
Yes, it's ridiculous. And, for the BBMP to say that, no, we're not doing it for such and such reason, does not actually disclose what the actual reason for having constructed that 25-foot dam is. I think, from a legal standpoint, which is perhaps where I can say a thing or two, what needs to be kept in mind is that whenever there is this sort of a development activity, normally there is some sort of procedure that is set out, and the idea is that one needs to follow that procedure unless there are parts of that procedure that that are not constitutionally required to be followed. The fact that such a procedure is not followed, the fact that it is expedient perhaps for some of the administrators of the civic body, or for that matter other bodies, I think points to the fact that it really speaks quite low of the of rule of law and the extent to which it is followed in Bengaluru, which I think is unfortunate.
No, so I just want to know, before a road is built, and obviously this is being built on public land, shouldn't there be an environmental study? Shouldn't civic organizations, resident welfare associations be consulted with before a road of this nature? It's not a small road; it's a 25 feet wide road. Shouldn't that be mandatorily done before it's undertaken?
Yes, and you have provisions under various statutes at the central level which mandate the conduct of such studies. Now, obviously, I should obviously caveat all of this by saying that there are always exceptions in respect of the extent to which you have to follow some of these requirements and procedures.
Mm-hmm.
But one would think that when it comes to a lake in a city which has already had its fair share of environmental mess, that you would have to at the very least conduct some sort of an impact assessment. The fact that they were able to, it seems, on the basis of the facts that have been collected to date, the fact that they were able to construct a 25-foot bridge of sorts without having conducted an assessment speaks volumes.
So let me ask Kavita Reddy. Now, this is what the people there are claiming, the activists there, the environmentalists, the residents, welfare associations, that this entire 25 feet road is being built for some kind of high-end luxury real estate project. If that is true, and like I said, the BBMP is denying it, but if it is true, this once again throws to light this whole builder lobby collusion with the municipal authorities. Basically, no one seems to be able to break this nexus. We saw this in Marthahalli, how there was encroachment on lake beds, there was simply no drainage systems for water to flow. The same thing seems to be continuing now in this part of Bangalore.
Zaka, I will have to say that I've spoken with most of the activists there, because a lot of them have worked with me earlier also. So they're very clear, and it is that the truth is that the road construction is happening for a particular project, whose name I don't want to disclose on the show. Maybe it just doesn't call for it right now. But the fact is that it is for a private entity which is getting built there. And this is not the first lake. And also most important thing is that the NGT, which was one of the strongest bodies in Karnataka, has been literally demolished completely. I mean, the Chennai tribunal, as well as the Bengaluru one, which had an extension arm where we had two of this, judges who were there, retired justices. One was Santosh Hegde, the other one, Subhash Adi, was there. Both have been literally not been able to do anything at all. And the kind of activism which was built on these lakes, the kind of involvement of NGT, the clear guidelines of NGT, the gentleman was mentioning that there will be some kind of exceptions. There's absolutely no exception when it comes to NGT guidelines. It's very clear that they cannot construct any road dividing the lake, especially when it is more than a 60-acre lake. This is actually it is more than that, and there's no possibility of giving way to another project just because it suits them.
But tell me, ma'am, why is this still continuing? Why is nobody able to sort of crack down on this builder lobby and municipal authorities, municipal corporation collusion that's been going on? Like I said, we saw that in Marthahalli as well as other parts of the Outer Ring Road. One bout of rain, it was not too much rain, it was just one spell of rain, and that entire belt got flooded out because the water simply doesn't have any place to go.
Zaka, three things has happened. The first and foremost is that the NGT has literally been demolished. They've taken out the tooths and the nails of the NGT. The kind of activism NGT used to do on its own itself is completely cut down. So you don't have anything coming out of NGT right now. So that is the first part of it. The second most important part is that the BBMP really cares a damn. That's the kind of the attitude, not only for this lake, across Bangalore, all the lakes. See, there was a circular which was given by the government saying that all the lakes in Bengaluru should be handed over to BBMP. Earlier, the forest department, the lake development authority, the panchayats, different bodies used to maintain the lake, and there was some kind of a difference in it. But today, everything have been handed over to BBMP, and they don't have neither the resources nor the intent to maintain this lake, and they get involved in the political pressures.
So what recourse then, Adithya? What recourse do the citizens there, the residents, the activists? One second, ma'am. I'll come back to you. What recourse do they have? Because as ma'am just said, if the NGT has been made so toothless and powerless, they clearly can't approach that tribunal. And if you go to a regular court of law, I mean, by the time the court adjudicates upon that matter, this road would have already come up. Maybe even the luxury project would have come up.
So I have a few points to make over here, Zaka. Firstly, that particular premise is not necessarily true. It's open for an individual to obviously approach the writ courts and seek some sort of a remedy under that, which is quite apart from what you can do under the jurisdiction of the NGT. That's one. But I think the more important point that I want to make is that from a citizen's perspective, things are really only ever going to change once environment and conservation of the environment, particularly of things like the ecology of lakes in a city that is which has had its share of concerns, such as Bangalore, from an environmental perspective. Until the environment becomes a voting issue, I really don't know what long-term effect there's going to be and what long-term strategy there is from the citizens' perspective to ensure that the ecology of their city is not affected.
But, Kavita Reddy, aren't you surprised that the ecology is not an issue already? I mean, people will tell you the Bangalore of today compared to the Bangalore of 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there is a sea change in the climate. It is far hotter today in Bangalore than it used to be 10, 20 years ago. Like I said, we saw the monsoon season and the mess that it created in many parts of the city, which were unplanned. There was encroachments. There was no adequate stormwater drains. And then, of course, let's not forget, all the frothing that we've seen from Bengaluru Lake and other places. So I'm surprised that, Bangaloreans don't care about these issues enough in a way that it affects their voting choices.
No,
Zaka,
if you,
it's quite
Ready. Yeah, thank you.
When the Congress was in the ruling, I was on your show many times, and there was so much of discussions and debates happening on the lakes. But today, if you see, nothing is happening for the fact that a lot of policy changes has been made, which is impacting the whole thing. See, there was a time when we had citizen involvement. The High Court even today says that every lake should have a body which is formed by the citizens who are becoming the part of the decision-making process and regular maintenance process. But BBMP has completely, sort of cut that off, and they're basically not allowing any citizens to get involved, any citizen activism to get involved. They've just completely cut it off. And there's a lot of political involvement. I think one of the fears, irrespective of political parties, I'm saying it, one of the biggest fears we had that the minute it's been given to BBMP, there will be a lot of local body political involvement, and at the constituency level, the political
I'm completely out of time. I want to thank Kavita Reddy and Adithya Srinivas for joining us. Because I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much to both our guests for joining us. Like I said, this is absolutely unacceptable what the BBMP is doing, making a road, a wide, 25 feet wide road, allegedly at the behest of a private luxury real estate project. That's the claim that's being made by the activists and the residents and the environmentalists in that area. It is absolutely unacceptable in this day and age. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back right on the other side, why an earthquake in Afghanistan is triggering panic across Delhi NCR, what you need to do when an earthquake strikes, especially if you're residing in a high-rise building. We'll tell you right on the other side.